Kia ora. So today we're looking at the plan part of the 2.9 statistical inference investigation. So I just need to make sure that everybody understands that this is the way we do it and that you might do it differently in your school, and that you should check with your teacher before following everything to the letter that we do. Make sure you're listening to your teacher in class and taking on board or asking them whether it's okay to do it this way. So the second part we're doing is the plan. So once we've written our question, it's really important that we look at how we're going to get the data. So in an ideal world, we'd be able to collect all the data from the population and be able to have an actual census or a complete investigation based around all of the data. But it's not very realistic. So we try to mirror that situation in this standard. We're going to give you a whole lot of data. We're going to ask you to sample from it. We don't want you to pretend that you know anything about the whole population. So even though you've been given a whole lot of data, it's only the sample that you are using in this particular investigation to represent the population. So there are a lot of ways that you can sample. The first way is called simple random sampling, SRS for short, and we use this one in our investigation because in NCEA it's easy to do. This means that everybody in the population would get a number and we would choose randomly however many we want. If we pick one twice, we'd just pick again. So it's a very good way of doing it, but it's very time consuming if you did it in real life, and quite often you can get quite different representation between samples. So you need to take a decent amount to make sure that you have over that special number of 25 in each of your groups. The second method is systematic sampling, and again you want a list, but in this sample you take every fifth one, for example, until you get the number that you want. But you need to make sure you're getting right through all of the data, so you take however much data you've got and divide by how many you want. That means that if the list is in any sort of order, so perhaps you have year 9s, then 10s, then 11s, then 12s, you're not only going to get year 9 students, you're going to get some from each group. The third one is called stratified sampling. Stratified sampling is where you take a specific number of people or group or data from each of the groups that you're interested in. So usually we use a random method to select the sample from the group, but we split the population into the groups first and take a sample from this. This is easily done on NCEA, so this is another one that we don't mind students using in their investigation. It provides a really good, simple random sample and very little bias in it. A few other ones that come up: cluster sampling, convenience sampling, self-selected sampling. All of these are good sampling methods for a situation. So convenience sample, if you're in a hurry, you just go out and ask whoever's closest to you. A cluster sample would mean that you're picking different groups. So you might ask a particular year 10 form class to represent the year 10s, etc. Self-selected sampling is when you put out a questionnaire on some sort of, maybe you email it to all the school and people who answer it, and that's your sample. Unfortunately, you'd often get loud, noisy people who want their voice heard in those particular samples, and people who don't really mind about things don't tend to answer it. So it can create quite a big amount of bias. So when you're writing your plan, you need to tell us why you've taken your sample, what you've taken as a sample. You need to address the fact of the reason why you're taking a particular sampling method. So that's your justification for merit. So you want to talk about representing the group well, being unbiased, and an easy way to do it perhaps. New Zealand Grapher, as we say, NCEA does simple random sampling and stratified sampling. We encourage you to take 150. If you're using the simple random sample, that pretty much ensures you'll get more than 25 in each group. And if you're using the stratified sample, we take 50 from each group, so 100 overall. Good luck with your plan.